Computers, smartphones, electric cars. When you hear cutting-edge technology, that's probably what comes to mind, right? But here's something that'll blow your mind. Scattered across museums and archaeological sites around the world are machines built thousands of years ago that we still can't fully explain. We're talking 2,000 to 5,000 years old. Devices so ahead of their time that even modern engineers scratch their heads trying to figure out how and why they were built. These weren't just random tools. They were masterpieces of science and innovation. Yet most of them served no clear purpose back then. They were mysteries in their own era, and they remain mysteries today. In this video, we're diving into 5 incredible ancient inventions you've probably never heard of. Each one challenges what we think we know about history, engineering, and human ingenuity. Before we get started, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Your support keeps this channel going, and we've got tons more fascinating content coming your way. Let's jump in. Invention number 1. The Aeolipile, the world's first steam engine. Every breakthrough has an origin story. And if you want to understand modern steam power, you have to go back nearly 2 millennia to a peculiar little device called the Aeolipile. Picture this. The year is 50 AD. The location? Alexandria, Egypt, one of the greatest centers of learning in the ancient world. A brilliant Greek inventor named Hero of Alexandria is about to create something extraordinary. Hero wasn't just a tinkerer. He was a mathematician, engineer, and inventor whose ideas were centuries ahead of his time. And one of his most famous creations was a hollow copper sphere mounted on a pair of tubes. Here's how it worked. Beneath the sphere sat a simple water-filled boiler. Light a fire underneath, and the water begins to boil. Steam rises through the tubes into the sphere. But here's the genius part. The sphere has 2 L-shaped nozzles sticking out in opposite directions. As steam shoots out of those nozzles, the sphere starts spinning. Faster and faster. No electricity. No fuel. Just heat, water, and physics. This is reactive propulsion, the same principle that powers jet engines and rockets today. But here's the kicker. Nobody used it for anything practical. It was a curiosity, a demonstration, a party trick for scholars and nobles. Yet the Aeolipile represents humanity's first working steam engine. It proved that steam could generate motion. 17 centuries later, during the Industrial Revolution, engineers like James Watt would refine this very concept and change the world. Today, you won't find Hero's original model. It's long gone. But replicas exist in science museums worldwide, still spinning after all these years, reminding us that innovation doesn't always come from necessity. Sometimes it comes from pure curiosity. So was Hero just experimenting? Or did he envision a future powered by steam? We may never know, but one thing's for sure. The Aeolipile was a glimpse into the future, built in the distant past. Invention number 2. The Jacquard Loom, the grandfather of programming. Fast forward to the early 1800s. France. The textile industry is booming, but there's a problem. Weaving intricate patterns by hand takes weeks. It's slow, expensive, and requires serious skill. Then along comes a man named Joseph Marie Jacquard with an idea that would change everything, not just for textiles, but for the entire digital age. In 1801, Jacquard unveiled his revolutionary loom. It didn't look that different from traditional weaving machines, but it had one game-changing feature: punch cards. Each card had a series of holes punched into it. As the cards fed through the loom, metal rods would pass through the holes, or get blocked by solid sections. This controlled which threads lifted and which stayed down, weaving complex patterns automatically. Swap out the cards? You get a completely new design. No manual adjustments, no rewiring. Just slide in a new stack of cards and let the machine do the rest. Sound familiar? It should, because this is the exact logic computers use today. Jacquard's punch cards were the world's first example of a programmable machine. Decades later, Charles Babbage, often called the father of computing, borrowed this concept for his analytical engine. Ada Lovelace, the world's first computer programmer, wrote algorithms for it. And even into the 20th century, early computers like the IBM mainframes still used punch cards. All of it traces back to a French weaver who just wanted to make prettier fabrics faster. Today, original Jacquard looms are preserved in textile museums, and some are still operational. Engineers study them not as relics, but as blueprints, proof that automation didn't start in Silicon Valley. It started in a workshop in Lyon over 200 years ago. So the next time you write a line of code or automate a task, remember, you're standing on the shoulders of a 19th century loom operator. Invention number 3, medieval water clocks. Timekeeping before batteries. Imagine trying to run your life without a clock. No watch, no phone, no alarms. For most of human history, that was reality. Sundials worked great, until the sun went down. So ancient and medieval civilizations got creative. Enter the water clock, also known as the Clepsydra. These weren't primitive hourglasses. They were sophisticated timekeeping machines that used the steady flow of water to measure hours with remarkable accuracy. Here's the basic idea. Fill a container with water. Let it drip out through a small hole at a controlled rate. As the water level drops, markings on the inside show how much time has passed. Some versions used floating indicators that rose or fell with the water, pointing to the time on a scale. But the real masterpieces came from medieval Islamic engineers. One of the most famous examples is Al-Jazari's elephant clock, built around the year 1206. This wasn't just a timekeeper, it was a work of art. Picture a life-sized mechanical elephant carrying a castle on its back, complete with automated figures, rotating mechanisms, and synchronized movements, all powered by water. It combined engineering, culture, and craftsmanship into a single breathtaking device. Water clocks weren't just for show. They were used in mosques to signal prayer times, in royal courts to schedule events, and in observatories to track the stars. They were precise, reliable, and needed no sunlight. The principle behind them, controlled fluid flow, laid the groundwork for hydraulic systems we still use today in everything from car brakes to industrial machinery. You can still see working replicas in museums. Turkey's Topkapi Palace has a stunning recreation of Al-Jazari's elephant clock. Medieval castles across Europe house original Clepsydras, still ticking after centuries. And in some rural villages, simple water clocks are still in use, helping farmers time irrigation or mark daily prayers. So the next time you glance at your smartwatch, remember, people were splitting seconds with nothing but water, gravity, and genius. Invention number 4, the Egyptian shaduf, 5,000 years of irrigation. Let's talk about farming, specifically ancient Egyptian farming. The Nile River was the lifeblood of Egypt. Every year it flooded, leaving behind rich, fertile soil. But once the water receded, farmers faced a challenge. How do you get water from the river to your fields without breaking your back? Their solution? The shaduf, a brilliantly simple machine that's been lifting water for over 5,000 years. Picture a long wooden pole balanced on a vertical post, like a seesaw. On one end, there's a bucket. On the other, a heavy counterweight, usually a large stone or chunk of clay. A farmer dips the bucket into the river. Thanks to the counterweight, lifting it back up takes almost no effort. Swing the pole over, dump the water into a canal, and repeat. It's low-tech, it's elegant, and it works. The shaduf turned irrigation from exhausting labor into a manageable task. Farmers could move thousands of gallons a day without wearing themselves out. This wasn't just convenient, it was essential. Egypt's survival depended on controlling water, and the shaduf gave them that control. But here's what's really cool. The principle behind it, using leverage and counterweights to amplify human strength, became the foundation for modern hydraulic systems and mechanical lifts. Even today, shadufs are still used in rural Egypt and parts of India. You'll find replicas at historic sites, still functional after millennia, and engineers study them as examples of sustainable, human-powered technology that requires no fuel, no electricity, no maintenance. In a world obsessed with high-tech solutions, the shaduf is a reminder. Sometimes, the simplest ideas are the most powerful. Invention number 5. The Baghdad Battery. Ancient electricity? Now we get to the most controversial item on this list. In 1938, archaeologists were digging near Baghdad, Iraq, when they unearthed something strange. A collection of clay jars, each about 5 inches tall. Inside each jar was a copper cylinder, and inside that was an iron rod. At first, nobody thought much of it. Just some old pottery, right? Then a German archaeologist named Wilhelm König took a closer look and made a wild suggestion. What if these jars were batteries? Here's the theory. If you fill the jar with an acidic liquid, vinegar, lemon juice, wine, the copper and iron react chemically. Electrons flow between the two metals, creating a small electric charge, about half a volt to 1 volt per jar. Modern researchers have tested this. They built replicas, added vinegar, attached wires, and sure enough, they got a measurable current. Enough to power a small LED or give you a tiny shock. So the big question is, what were these used for? Some scientists think they were used for electroplating, coating jewelry with a thin layer of gold or silver. Ancient craftsmen might have discovered that passing a current through metal solutions could transfer metal onto objects. And there is evidence of electroplated artifacts from that era. Others think they're religious objects, symbols of divine power, not functional devices. And some believe we're completely misinterpreting them. Maybe they held scrolls. Maybe they were just storage containers. The truth, we don't know. No ancient texts describe them. No instructions, no clues. The original artifacts are housed in the Iraq Museum, though some were lost during the 2003 war. Researchers continue to debate their purpose, running experiments, proposing theories, but nothing's been proven. So was this the world's first battery, invented 2,000 years before Alessandro Volta? Or just a coincidence that happens to look like one? It's one of archaeology's greatest unsolved mysteries. Conclusion? 5 inventions, thousands of years, countless questions, from steam-powered spheres to programmable looms, from water-driven clocks to leverage-based irrigation, from mysterious electrical jars to mechanisms we still don't fully understand. These weren't just tools. They were proof that ancient minds were just as brilliant, just as curious, and just as innovative as ours. And maybe, just maybe, they knew things we've forgotten. So which invention surprised you the most? Drop a comment below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into ancient tech, smash that like button and subscribe for more. History isn't just about the past, it's about understanding where our future came from. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.